And he called me about wanting to get a hot tub for the house that we were about to move into. And then he sent me a Snapchat a little bit after that, and that was the last time I heard from him.
What was the Snapchat of?
It was of him and his dad looking at the trees and stuff that they had planted. They had one swoop down that obviously wasn't doing too good, but it was just a video of them looking at trees.
And you watched that video on your phone or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Over the years, as you got to know Paul, did you also get to know his family as well?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you get to know Miss Maggie?
Yes, sir, I did.
To your knowledge, did Miss Maggie like to go down to the kennels?
Yes, she did.
And how would she get down there, do you know?
Sometimes she would use her bike or her car or walk. She liked to walk. There are two labs around a lot around the property, so it was not uncommon for her to go down there.
And what would she like to do when she went down there?
She would go down and look at the dogs and mess with the dogs. A lot of times she liked to ride her bike, right before it got dark, on a sunset or something. But she was a dog lover for sure.
Would she go in the daytime or would she go at night when it was dark?
I only saw her go during the daytime most of the time. I mean, she might be down there once it got dark, but I don't think she would go down there after dark.
Let me ask you a little bit about Paul. What was his cell phone usage like?
He used his cell phone a lot.
Is he one to respond to you pretty quickly, typically?
Yes, sir. He would respond pretty fast.
You know where he kept it when he had it on him? What pocket he kept it in?
No, I do not. I know he kept it in one of his front pockets. I would have remembered if he kept it in his back pockets, but I don't know which one it was.
Were you, how'd you find out about the murders?
I was called numerous times in the middle of the night. I finally woke up to one around midnight. I think it was 12:07 if I remember right. And it was a cousin of Paul's, and she told me about everything. And I was in the apartment at the time, and nobody really knew what was going on, so I got out of the apartment pretty quick. Drove to my parents' house, talked with them for a minute, and we had some friends that were all awake in Charleston, so I drove straight down to Charleston in the middle of the night.
Did you ever go to Moselle in the aftermath of everything?
Yes, sir. I believe I went on that previous Wednesday and saw the family.
Did you ever have a conversation with Alex?
I did.
Did you talk to him about any conversations that you had with Paul that night?
No, I didn't. We mostly just grieved.
Did you ask him about what he was doing that night or what happened or the events of that night at all?
No, I did not.
Were you aware of what's called the boat wreck or the boat case?
Yes, sir.
And were you aware that Paul had been charged in that boat case?
Yes, sir, I was.
Were you aware that Alex Murdaugh had been sued in that boat case?
Yes, sir, I was.
Whenever Paul, did you ever talk to Paul about the boat case?
Not much. I didn't want to bring up something like that.
You mentioned that the family had an Edisto Beach house, is that right?
That's correct.
Had the Moselle property?
That's correct.
Did they have another property at one point in time?
Yes, they did. They had their house in Hampton.
Did they ultimately sell that property?
Yes, they did.
What was your understanding as to why they sold that property?
You can answer if you know.
It was just through the grapevine to help pay for some of the lawsuits that they were under.
The objection is sustained.
You say through the grapevine. Did you ever have a conversation or were privy to a conversation with Alec about that?
No, sir.
When you did you have a conversation or were you privy to a conversation with Paul about that?
We talked about the house being sold, but I don't believe he ever told me that that's what it was for.
Going back to the 300 blackout, what was the sort of effective range of that weapon?
From what I was told from Paul, it was around 50 to 75 yards. It was accurate up to.
Did that have anything to do with the discussion about why not to put a suppressor on it?
Yes, it did.
When y'all were shooting that tan blackout 300 blackout rifle with the red dot optic on the side of the house in Moselle in March or April of 2021, who was doing most of the shooting of it?
Paul was.
Did Paul express to you any dissatisfaction with that tan one in the optic?
No, he did not.
Did y'all discuss any frustration, though, with it being unusable for turkey shooting because of the optic that was on it?
For hog hunting?
For hog hunting, sorry.
No, not really. We kind of knew that when we took it with us that it was kind of pointless, but we just took it with us anyway.
The red dot was pointless
Yes, sir.
for night shooting.
For night hunting, yes, sir.
You said you were present when they purchased the red dot. Is that right?
Yes,
you
sir,
and
I
Paul
was.
purchased the red dot?
Yes, sir.
Who paid for the red dot?
It was put on a store credit that was his father's.
That was his father's?
Yes, sir.
Whenever Paul needed money, who would he get that from?
He would normally text his dad.
When you talked a little bit about Paul's habits, and you guys had an apartment in Columbia, right?
Yes, sir.
Did Paul like to go to Charleston a lot?
He did.
He liked to go to Moselle a lot?
He did.
Did he spend time in a lot of different places?
Yeah, he was all over.
He was all over.
Yes, sir.
Happened to be back in Moselle on June 7th, 2021, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. One last thing. Have you had the opportunity to view a video at the kennels in Moselle?
Yes, sir, I have.
And were you able to recognize any voices on that video?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right, Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to play State's Exhibit 297 for this witness.
Quit, Cash. Come on. Quit. It's okay. Come here. Come here, Cash. Shit. Come here. Post it. Cash.
Hey, he's got burgers now.
Hey, my brother.
It's a guinea.
There's a chick there. Come here, Cash. Cash. Quit.
Whose voices did you recognize on that video?
Paul Murdaugh, Maggie Murdaugh, and Alex Murdaugh.
And how sure are you?
100%.
The person whose voice you recognize on there that you identified as Alex Murdaugh, do you see him in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
Can you point him out for the jury?
He's sitting right there.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect he's identified the defendant.
It does.
Mr. Loving, please answer any questions the defense may have.
Good afternoon, Will.
How you doing?
Good. It's a hard day, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
You mentioned about a Snapchat video that you received on sometime the evening of June the 7th. Do you remember what time that was?
I don't. It was later in the afternoon, somewhere around like 7 o'clock-ish in that area.
And what was it of?
It was Alex and his son Paul. They were riding around looking at trees that they had built and, laughing, having a good time.
Everything. So he posted it on, I don't have Snapchat. Maybe most people here have Snapchat, but tell us a little bit about what that is.
Snapchat's an app on a smartphone that you can send pictures and videos to your friends. You can save pictures and videos, but it's just an app that most young people use.
And it's a way to share videos.
Correct. Yes, sir.
My kids have it, but are the videos supposed to disappear after some period of time?
Yeah, they have a limit on them. You can either send it it'll play over and over and over again until somebody clicks off of it, or you can go up to from 1 to 10 seconds. But you can also save a Snapchat if you want to look at later.
And is it like Facebook? You have friends that want to be in your circle of Snapchat? Is that how
Yes,
that
sir.
works? And did Paul have a lot of Snapchat? They call friends on Snapchat?
Yes, sir, he did.
And would he frequently post things on Snapchat?
Yes, sir.
And would he frequently post things, events like he did on the evening of June the 7th when he and his father were out, messing around with a tree?
Yes, sir, he would.
And would he post stuff with his family events?
Yes, sir, he would.
Okay. And the Snapchat, when he would post it, would it go to everybody who's in his, I guess, group?
Yeah, you have to send it to certain people. He wouldn't necessarily put stuff. They have what's called a story that everybody that you're friends with can see. He wouldn't necessarily always put stuff on his story, but he would send stuff to whoever he wanted to.
I think we're going to learn more about Snapchat, but let me ask you, when Paul would post on Snapchat, could people see where he was posting from? Did he have his location services activated?
I don't think he kept his location on. Sometimes they have filters and stuff that show you different areas where you are, but I don't think he kept his Snapchat location on.
Well, when he posted the video of he and his dad at Moselle, could you tell that he was at Moselle?
Yes, I could tell he was at Moselle just from being there, but maybe somebody who doesn't know the property wouldn't know.
Okay. All right. You were asked. questions about the last time, well, you were with Paul and, well, getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry. So you and Paul were good friends, and Paul was friends with your friend group out of Columbia, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's right.
And then y'all would sort of migrate to Charleston, and some of the Columbia folks went to Charleston, and y'all would visit down there?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And I guess originally you all met at Edisto with family homes and vacationing, and right?
Yeah, that's where everybody met until, everybody went to college, and then everybody just kind of meets up.
Okay. And sometimes Paul would come to Columbia and stay with you?
Correct.
And you had another friend, Wills Chapman, that he would stay with Wills?
Correct.
Okay. And, Paul, left a 300 blackout at your house for some period of time, didn't he?
Yes, sir, he did.
How long did Paul leave a 300 blackout at your home?
Probably a month or so at least.
Okay. And I think when Wills Chapman moved to Charleston, what did he find in his closet?
He found Paul's deer hunting rifle.
That Paul had left there?
Yes, sir.
And Paul had thought he had lost his deer hunting rifle.
Correct.
And lo and behold, it was at Wills Chapman's house, right?
Yes, sir.
Was that unusual for Paul to leave stuff everywhere?
No, not at all.
And so he was, would he leave guns around the farm?
Yeah, he would every now and again.
We'd leave them, say, in the golf cart.
Yes, sir.
And we leave them in unlocked trucks.
Yes, sir.
And you were asked about the kennels, but what about in the workshop, the shed? We leave guns down there.
That's where I was, referring to. You'd see them down there sometimes, but I don't think there was ever guns permanently down there. No, sir.
Okay. And when he left the 300 blackout in Columbia, was it the one that Mr. Waters showed you, this black one with the thermal scope?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. And you learned at some point in time that he got there was a replacement for one he had previously lost?
Yes, I did. I didn't even know that it was a replacement. Like I said, I didn't know about the original one. I just remember seeing the brown one.
And that brown one did not have a scope, right?
No, sir, it didn't until we bought one.
And you went with Paul to Ace Hardware store and purchased a scope and a mount for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the day that you purchased the scope and the mount, was it the weekend that you were talking about, where the last time you used it?
I'm not sure if it was that weekend or maybe the next weekend, but they were both pretty close together.
Okay, but you were there when he purchased the scope and the mount?
Correct.
And you went, did you go back to Moselle and put it on the gun?
Yes, sir, we did.
And did you use the gun that weekend, or waited till the following weekend?
I'm not 100% sure if we used it that weekend or if it was the following weekend. I know we sighted it in that day that we bought the scope for it.
So that was the day when you were shooting off the railing beside the gun room?
Correct.
The day you bought the scope?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's possible you hunted with it that weekend, but if not, it was the following weekend.
Yes, sir.
And had you ever seen that gun again after that weekend or the following weekend, whichever it was?
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay. And would you be able to more accurately know when it was? I think you said late March, early April. If you saw the receipt from the purchase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to show you what was marked as Defendant's Exhibit 62. And ask you, first, do you recognize Paul's signature on that document?
Yes, sir, I do.
You know that to be his signature.
Yes, sir.
And does that reference the purchase of red dot scope and the mount?
Yes, it does.
And that's from Ace Hardware?
Yes, sir.
And were you there with Paul when he bought it?
I was.
Your Honor, we will introduce Exhibit 62 in evidence at this time.
A different one than the one you just handed him that you said.
It's the same
is
one.
It's already in evidence, isn't it? It's just marked for identification, or is it in evidence already?
I'm moving in that evidence right now. Thank you. Will you tell the jury what the date of that is?
It is March the 6th,
Okay.
2021.
And Your Honor, I have a calendar here that says March 6, 2021 is a Saturday, and I would just like the court to take judicial notice that March 6, 2021 is a Saturday. No objection. Thank you. So knowing that it was purchased on March 6, 2021, a Saturday, does that help you reflect, remember when you last used the gun?
Yeah, so that was a Saturday, so we would have sighted it in that Saturday, and I do remember using the gun. It was the first week of turkey season because we were going turkey hunting the next morning, which would have been either March 20th or March 22nd. I can't remember what it was 2 years ago with the opening day of the season. So it would have been 3 weeks after we sighted it in.
Okay, so you cited it on March 6th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take that back. Thank you. When was the last time you saw Paul in person?
It would have been the weekend previous, or 2 weekends previous to when everything happened. It was Memorial Weekend.
So you saw him Memorial Day weekend?
Yes, sir.
And where did you see him?
We all stayed at the Edisto Beach House.
And when you say we all, who are you referring to?
Me, myself, and 3 or 4 other buddies, along with Alex, Maggie, and I believe that was it.
And did you spend a lot of time with Paul around his dad and mom?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how would you describe Paul's relationship with his father?
It was an awesome relationship.
And what do you mean by awesome?
It just kind of seemed like Paul was the apple of his eye.
Okay. And from your observation, can you tell the jury what you observed of Alex's relationship with Maggie?
I thought they had an awesome relationship as well, from everything that I could see. You know, they were always laughing and everybody got along. You know, nothing was out of the ordinary at all.
Did Maggie and Alec open their home up to Paul and Buster's friends?
Yes, they did.
How many people stayed at the Edisto Beach House that Memorial Day weekend?
I'm not 100% positive, but at least 3 or 4 friends.
Okay, and where'd y'all stay?
All in the bedrooms. I think somebody might have been on the couch on the porch outside. Maybe the couch inside as well.
Okay. And was Buster there?
I believe Buster was there, but I'm not 100% sure.
And did he have any of his friends there?
Yet again, I'm not sure.
Okay. You mentioned that when you got a phone call from Paul's cousin, I believe, after midnight on June 7th, so early morning, June the 8th, you learned what happened, and your immediate reaction was to hightail it out of there?
Yes, sir.
And were you fearful for your safety?
At first I wasn't, and then I was calling back other friends, and you know, people started telling me to get out of there. So then I started second guessing myself, and yeah, then I got out of there.
And when you left, I mean, did you even lock it up when you left?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay. I'm going to show you what I marked as Exhibit 61, and it's a disc. And And before you testify today, did you have an opportunity to view that very short video clip on the disc?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you, are those your initials on the disc?
Yes, sir, they are my initials.
And is it a short video of the Memorial Day weekend when you were down at Edisto with Paul and your friends and Maggie and Alec?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is it sort of a birthday celebration for Alec?
It was a birthday celebration for Alex.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce Exhibit 61 in evidence and play the video.
Admitted without objection.
Can you just play it without the sound?
Yeah, I sure can.
We're just going to play it without the sound, but you've seen the video
Yes, sir.
of people singing happy birthday to Alec?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you, baby.
On the Wednesday after Paul and Maggie were murdered, you went to Moselle, correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
With some friends of yours?
Yes, sir.
I mean, the friends of Paul's?
Yes, sir.
How many?
I think 3 of us went.
And how many other people were there, friends of Paul's?
There was a lot of friends of Paul's there.
More than 10?
On Wednesday, I don't know. I don't think so. I think a lot of people were kind of trying to feel out the situation, so just like the closer friends went. But there was probably 10 or so of his friends there when I was there.
And what was Alex Murdaugh's demeanor on the Wednesday?
He was grieving, crying a lot. I think we all were.
I think you described that he just couldn't talk. Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, it was pretty hard to talk when, he came and grabbed me and 2 other guys, and we just kind of had a big hug, and it was pretty tough for him to make words.
Was he crying?
Yes, sir.
Were you crying?
Yes, sir.
Everybody there crying?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
That's the.
Before you do that, go back to your video if you would, please. Can y'all turn that screen around for me, please? Still at the very end, please. that video.
Thank you, baby.
Who's that guy in the green shirt? Do you know?
That's Chris Wilson.
Do you know Chris Wilson's relationship to Alec Wilson or Alex Murdaugh?
Yeah, I think they're best friends.
Best friends. Best friends should do each other right. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were asked about when you found out about the murders, and you talked to some people, and then you kind of hightailed it out of your place, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you were scared, or at least thinking about the possibility of some sort of harm. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because it was a shock for everyone, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
It stopped everything in its tracks, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
And everybody was worried about this family and what was going on and what had happened. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Anything else people were worried about went out the window. They were all focused on Alec at that moment, were they not? In themselves. Is that correct?
I mean, I think they were focused on everybody that had anything to do with it.
Anything that had anything to do with this family. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You were shown the Snapchat video. You were also asked about another Snapchat video that you saw the day of the murders.
Yes, sir.
And what was on that video?
It was a video of Alex and his son riding around looking at trees that had fallen over on the tractor or on the golf cart.
Was it a short clip?
Yes, sir, it was.
I have States Exhibit 306, which is a Snapchat video, I believe, in without projection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Submit it.
Thank you. As soon as we get it flipped back over, I'm going to play that tree video. About what time do you recall receiving this video, to the best of your recollection?
It was later in the afternoon. I believe it was after I cooked dinner, so probably around 7 o'clock, sometime in there.
Is that the video you saw?
Yes, it is.
That was on the afternoon or the evening of June 7th, 2021?
That's correct.
Clothes that he was wearing, at least in that video you saw on the evening of June 7th, 2021?
Yeah, those are the clothes I saw in the video.
Long pants and a shirt,
Yep. Yes, sir.
and those particular shoes.
Yes, sir.
And you watched that video in real time when it came in from Paul's phone that evening, is that correct?
That is correct.
You were asked about the relationship that you observed between Alec and Paul and Alec and Maggie, is that correct?
That is correct.
to your eye, it was a very good relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It was a good relationship in my point of view.
Did you know anything about Alex's finances?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about his law practice?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he gets his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about where he was spending his money?
No, I did not.
Did you know anything about what his bank account balances were?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you know anything about the debt that he was carrying? Do you know anything about that?
No, sir.
Did you know the specific things that were going on in the boat case the week that Paul and Maggie were murdered?
No, sir.
Do you know anything about civil discovery and how it can expose financial information?
No, sir.
Do you know anything at all about him being confronted on June 7th, 2021 about...
Object.
Didn't hear the question.
Did you know anything about him being confronted on the morning of June 7th, 2021 about $792,000 of missing fees from his law firm?
Objection, Your Honor. It's totally improper.
Objection is overruled.
Did you know anything about that?
No, I did not.
You know any of the facts of those things that I just asked you about?
No, sir.
Nothing further.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. We'll see you at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please do not discuss the case. This day, tomorrow morning, however, I will address the Rule 404 issue, particularly 404B that provides that evidence of other wrongs, crimes, or acts may be admissible to show motive and some other things. And we'll address that issue tomorrow morning, and as far as witness preparation or witness availability, particularly in light of my ruling with regard to the last question posed, trust that the state will be prepared to move forward with evidence that establishes facts by clear and convincing evidence.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And we'll be in recess till 9:30.